Hey guys, Dwindling Elves here. So this is going to be a preview video for a tournament that I've recently attended. So it was Chaosludik 2013 here in Montreal. So this is the big tournament that's hosted in Montreal every year. So I didn't go last year, but to give you some perspective, 2 years ago I attended this tournament when it was just 2,000 points, and I actually won Best General. So I'm really looking forward to going out this year. So what they did this year is it's 2,500 points, but it's actually two separate lists. It's a 2,000 point list of your main army, and then you have 500 points of an allies. Now these allies could be anything, and they were counted as trusted allies for most of the scenarios, 3 of them, and in one of the scenarios they were trusted as suspicious allies. So you didn't have to worry about taking good guys with bad guys, or forces of destruction and forces of good. You'd still be able to use each other's generals and put each guys in each other's units and stuff. So I took a 2,000 point High Elf list, and I took 500 points of Empire allies. And the picture that you're seeing here is my Lore Master, who I haven't completed yet. I still need to work on his face. And the Warrior Priest, the Allied Warrior Priest that I've taken, which is actually a Bretonian model that I'm quite proud of. I think it's probably one of the best painted models that I've painted. And that's why, one of the reasons I've actually brought Empire, so I get to actually use this guy in a game. So the army is led by 3 characters. So as always, I have my Lore Master. He's a level 2. He's got the Book of Poets and the Golden Crown. So he comes in at 295 points. I really debated on giving him the 25 point armor of Glittering Scale, so he's -1 to hit, because he's really vulnerable. -1 to hit would generally mean he's getting hit on 5s, and then if you look at synergies with Miasma or Ice Shard Blizzard, you can easily get hit on 6s or possibly 7s. But I didn't have points for it, and I decided to take more guys. So he's pretty naked. Then I have the Noble BSB, and he's got heavy armor, the Parry Shield, so he's got a 4+ ward save in close combat, and the Reaver Bow, so strength 5 shots. I really like this build. It's relatively cheap and somewhat survivable. And then, as leading my Empire detachment, I've got a plain Warrior Priest on foot. And you might be wondering why he's on foot. I guess I'll get into that a bit later. And he's got just heavy armor and the Charm Shield. So again, all my characters are pretty naked and slightly vulnerable. But I really play a min character type of game. And I really wanted to max out my blocks. So we'll get into that now. So this is an overview of the army with my display board. It is mostly painted. The Silver Helms, the 6-man unit of Silver Helms, and the Phoenix Guard are 3 colors. The entire army is base, so I didn't really have time to complete these guys before the tournament, but I don't think it actually affected my painting scores or my overall scores that much. I may have lost out on 1 or 2 points in terms of painting, but whatever. So in my army, I've got, as my core, I've got 28 Sea Guard and 6 Silver Helms. Then a block of White Lions, a block of Phoenix Guard, 2 Repeater Bolt Throwers, my Eagle, and then my Empire allies. I've got a unit of 10 Inner Circle Knights and a Great Cannon. So I guess we'll start with my core. So I've got the 6 Silver Helms with Musician. These guys I'm going to put on the flank. It came down to taking these guys with Fast Cav, and I really think these guys bring more to the table with the 2-up armor save. Yes, they lose Vanguard, but they're just as fast, and they're far more durable and slightly more killy. So that's why I went with a unit of 6. The reason I didn't go with a bigger block of Silver Helms as my core is I don't have the models. I have worked on, actually figured out a way to get Silver Helms without playing with the actual Silver Helm models, but I think I'll discuss that in my tournament wrap-up. Then I've got the 28 Sea Guard with Shields, Musician, Banner, and the reason why I'm playing with them is because they're painted, and I have the models. I didn't have time to optimize this list and actually go out and buy a different core. So that's my core. Then my main block is 21 White Lions with Banner and Musician, and they've got the Banner of the World Dragon. Now I took the banner, the World Dragon, for two reasons. The first is that it protects me from my own miscasts, which will be nice. And the second is Demon Princes. Now, obviously, it affects the whole Demon Army, but I'm not really worried about the whole Demon Army, and it affects the Wood Elf Army quite a lot, but I don't expect to be seeing any Wood Elves at a competitive uncomped tournament. So, this unit is now immune to Demon Princes, and I do expect to see a couple of those, which is another great reason to take this banner. And then, as my rare, I've got the two Bolt Throwers, and the Eagle. Eagles, I always find a purpose for them. They can either be sacrificed or they're great War Machine Hunters. And then the two Repeater Bolt Throwers, I needed some shooting in here to deal with other monsters. I'm playing pretty much an all infantry list, so going to be more defensive than offensive. And obviously, two Bolt Throwers is probably not as good as a cannon, but it's what High Elves have, and I figured I needed it in the list to deal with the big Riblies. Then I have my 27 Phoenix Guard with banner and musician, so no champion. They don't have a magical banner either. I mean, you could put the flaming banner in this unit, but so flaming banner is great against trolls, chimeras, things that you'd expect to see in competitive warrior builds. But then you also expect to see a Demon Prince with a 2-up ward against flaming. So you take one step forward to take 2 steps back. In that case, it's as soon as your opponent finds out you got a flaming banner unit, that's where his Demon Prince is going. So that's why I didn't take the flaming banner. Yeah, so I think the Phoenix Guard should be pretty decent. They're great infantry killers. They kill what the White Lions have trouble killing with, so they're a good complement. And they also are very, very difficult to shift with that 4+ ward save. So then I have my Empire Detachment. I've got a unit of 10 knights, so I borrowed 8 knights from my friend, and the 2 command models in the center are actually mine. I have some Bretonnians. Again, I was quite fond of how these guys were painted, so I've used these 2 to fill out the unit. Now I could have put the Warrior Priest on a horse instead of one of the knights and put him in this unit. But I didn't do that because I decided to be a bit cheeky and put the Warrior Priest in with the White Lions to give them hatred. So 3 is rerollable on the White Lions. It was pretty amazing to me and too good to pass up. But I didn't really consider some of the scenarios, and it turns out in 2 of the scenarios, my Warrior Priest can't join the White Lions. So yeah, but we'll get into that, I think, in the summary video. Oh, and these guys also have the Steel Standard, which should make them a bit more mobile. And I think it'd be nice to have some speed and some durability with the 1-up armor saves in this army, because the rest of my army is relatively fragile. So these guys should bring something else to the table and round this list out. And then I've got 1 cannon. Again, I think it's pretty obvious why I'm taking cannons. They are amazing. Yeah, just taking out monsters or other war machines in one shot is what I hope to achieve with this. Whether I'll get that or not, we'll see in the games. But yeah. So there's my list. It's a close-up of my Warrior Priest. I think I've went for a very balanced list. I know this is not going to be the hardest list. I'm going to have issues against very, very hard lists. But I didn't want to go into this tournament with a dick list. I wanted to be friendly and balanced, and if I won, it's because I won on merit, or I played well, not because my list was absolutely broken, which, you do see at these uncomped tournaments. But I'm perfectly fine losing a game because my list isn't optimized or top tier. I'm playing against other people who have lists like that. From this tournament, I'm hoping to win more games than I lose. I don't expect to come in first place with this list. Other tournaments that I've won, I've taken Ogres and Ogre Death Stars, and it's been a dirty list. And sometimes I feel bad about playing with that type of list. So I really wanted to avoid that here. So I think I could do relatively well if I play well, but this is not a list that'll win on its own. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and the other reports from the tournament should be up soon. Bye.